Wow. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Depending on where you're watching us from, good afternoon, good evening, and it's so great to have you join us. Leadership Talk with Adegoke, the 43rd edition. I'm so excited tonight to have with me Patrina Onoha, Wets Onoha. She's going to be adding so much value today on Leadership Talk with Adegoke. And we're going to be looking at the topic leadership and time. Time is the greatest innovator. Everything flows around time. And God is the inventor and the creator of time. So we want to look at the relationship between time and leadership, the importance of time. And so Patrina is going to be dropping so much in terms of nuggets this on this special day. Patrina, how are you doing?
Trust excellently. And you know, I have one of those names that sometimes I have to hold people's hands, but no problem, because you are my brother. You are my collabo king. I love working with you. It's my mother put an extra syllable in my name, so it's Patrinia. Patrinia. Yes. So happy to be here. It's always an opportunity, wonderful opportunity to connect with you.
Wow, amazing. So tell us, who is Patrinia?
Well, while I'm telling you who I am, I want you to just kind of meditate for a moment about what would you do if you had one more hour per day? What would you do if you had one more day in a week? Just think about that when we think about time. And now I'll tell you who I am. My name is Patrinia Onaha, and at this time in my life, I'm describing myself as an impactpreneur. In fact, that's my really goal and focus in my gratitude board for 2021 is to identify areas where I can make impact and walk boldly, even if fearful, into it. I am principal for Patrinia Speaks, which is a brand under the Resilience Life Resources, of which I'm the chief of. And I coach, I speak, I train. In my last life, I've done a couple other things, so I can talk a little more about that as we go. But I have, my life is a testimony of reinvention, relocation, reigniting. Yeah.
Wow. Now, I know we're both on the John Maxwell team. I just wanted to speak to your experience of being on the platform of the John Maxwell team and what he has done before we go into, because that's what that's the source of
yes. When you talk about source, you know, you can always look at a plant and get a sense of what type of soil it's been standing in, what type of soil it's been growing in. And you can always tell where the plant has been nourished and received. Even the manure sometimes, you know, it may smell just like getting feedback that you may not like, right? Or getting a nudge to say, you know, you didn't get that right, let's grow in that area. So what I like to akin our John Maxwell community in Nigeria to is just being very fertile soil for building leaders and building people who have come with a great intent and need a path, like a conduit for expression. I love that when I get with other John Maxwell team members, we speak a common language. We all know about leadership. We all know about influence, and we just flow together. I mean, and there's so much power in a connected flow. You know, when you use 3 to 5 of your strengths in an area that you're interested in, you get into a state called flow. It's a technical phrase called flow, and I teach this in my Mojo Flow framework. But at the end
Wow.
of the day, what you want to be is in a space where it doesn't feel like work. When you're
Wow.
on that platform and hearing about people's challenges, you're hearing about their wins, you're hearing about their learnings and their experiences, all it could ever do for you was make you know that you can do more. Make you
Awesome.
know that, yes, that there is a voice that God has given you. And if you don't use it, well,
It's
as
up
we
to
always
you.
say, yeah, it's up to you, but we don't want you to die empty. We don't want you to die full. We want you to
Wow.
empty everything out. So John Maxwell gives that platform to do that. So it's really
Wow.
nice. Yes, fertile
Wow.
soul. Wonderful to see you, Yemi. It is very fertile soul. And
Yeah.
yes, we flow. You know, when you're in flow, your brain is able to process it 4 times the capability of using your normal space. That's when work doesn't feel like work. And that's what happens when we all get together. We worked on Elevate Africa together. You know, we've done projects together where people come in and it's just all in love. So yes, it's a wonderful, wonderful space.
Wow. Wow. Amazing. Amazing. Thank you so much for coming on this platform, Leadership Talk with Adegoke. Now, I just want to find out, what do you know about leadership? What's your, yeah.
Okay. What do I know about leadership? One, I know that in order to lead others, you need to
Yeah.
first lead yourself.
Yeah.
And in that first leading yourself, you need to be grounded in your values, get a clear understanding of your purpose, and let yourself be willing to grow and stretch and test and grow and stretch. And that's how you build the capacity to first lead yourself. Then I heard a joke early in my career that says that if you're leading and you turn around and no one's following you, then you're actually just taking a walk.
Hmm.
So leadership is actually all about influence and persuasion and connection. It's all of those elements wrapped up. In fact, when you think about leadership, you want to say, I is for integrity, N is for nurturing, F F is for faith and encouragement and molding people. L is using these two, listening, right? U is being able to understand. E is
Hmm.
enlarging, providing the opportunity to enlarge, right? N is navigating, understanding the waters, right? Because anybody can really sail the ship, but it takes leadership to define where you're going to end up.
Wow.
Um, C is about, just showing courage. E is empowering. And R is the ability to reproduce. So that leadership is all about influencing. It's not about position at all. If you're given a position and you believe that that's the source of your influence and power, then you're really in for a change.
Yeah.
In my last paid employment, I had a role where in the beginning, and I noticed that a lot of the rights and privileges came from that role.
Hmm.
Because when I moved from that role, I lost my parking space. I lost, so there were many things that came with it. So you need to be able to understand that your leadership and ability to influence is not a function of title. Title is a nice to have. But what I really saw in that position, even as I moved out, my influence came when people who I used to work with would still discretionarily do things for me, still
Wow.
connect me in the space. And that's what let me know that I was a real leader. But even when the things around the position peel away.
Wow. Amazing. Well, if you're just joining us, this is Leadership Talk with Adegoke, the 43rd edition. And tonight we're looking at leadership and time. And with me tonight is an amazing lady. She has so much depth in terms of experience regarding leadership. Patrina Wetz Onoha.
Yeah.
Patrinian. So how did you get into leadership? How did you get into leadership, Patrina?
Well, I would say for me, it started probably within my household. I was born in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. Yay, go NC State, Tar Heels, all of that. So I'm originally from North Carolina, and I'm the youngest in my family, but my mother passed away when I was 13. So I had to kind of grow into being the woman of the house, which is my father and I. So I definitely learned some things about if it was going to be, it was up to me right at that time.
Wow.
Needing to take care of things that my older siblings who were out of the house, writing the bills, send them, paying things off. If it was to be, it was up to me. That was very clear. But then I began to notice that in my music and in the things that I was doing at school, I was often looked to for, what do you think? How should we approach this?
Yeah.
And I began to see that I was my extroverted and being able to process and getting people started truly was a gift that I had. And then my mother really worked with me quite a bit on self-regulation is really important as a leader to start something and end. But the biggest percentage of people in the world start and don't finish.
Wow.
That's really where people sit. So getting people in the right direction and keeping them motivated to finish, I found was one of my giftings. So I eventually went into, I did a lot in the arts in college. I had a lot of leadership roles. At the age of 19, I had a $23,000 budget I was responsible for at North Carolina State.
Amazing.
Yeah, for a theater department. So, being trusted and having that support that guided me. So the rules and guidelines were clear, but having someone that invested in me showed me that's what leaders do. So you reproduce. So that's what happened even in my undergrad experience. And my first degree was engineering. So I went into a manufacturing environment where I was the grunt engineer. And I got to realize that even in that role, I needed to have personal leadership, show up on time, deliver my projects when I say I'm going to deliver it, keep my promise, have high integrity, setting standards. So even in my role, I needed to lead myself, and you need to lead yourself before you get the opportunity to lead
others. Yeah.
And then just as my career grew, I saw where it's something called informal leaders versus formal leaders. And when you see opportunities, and that's the big part about time, because it's just like jumping rope, right? When the rope is jumping double dutch, you got to get the rhythm. And rhythm is all about time and rhythm. And you got to know when it's the right time to jump in so the rope won't hit you. Right?
Yeah. So you won't trip.
Yes, that's a big part of the leadership. So one of my biggest opportunities came, and I was the informal leader and evolved into being the leader of the team. In engineering, we were needing to double production. I worked at Harley Davidson, so we needed a double production. But on that team, I began to be the person that would set the direction. And I didn't always have the answer, but I could hear everybody's thing and bring it together. So those are some of the things that kind of
amazing journey. Amazing.
And let me just, I'll add one big thing. My father was a pastor.
Wow. Okay. Good.
Sit at his feet and observe pastoring a church, leading people, leading faith. How do you feel the bank account? How do you feel the pews? How do you feel with spirit? All of those things. Talk about, multiple key deliverables.
So you're a pastor's kid?
Yes, I am.
Wow. Amazing. Now, listen, I just want you to tell us, what's the importance of time when it comes to leadership?
Okay. Well, I'll go biblical with you first and just look at Moses.
Okay.
Right? Moses got to, use what he had in his hand, right? Probably when he looked at his hand, he didn't realize that his staff was so powerful. It just looked like a stick. So one of the first things you have to do as a leader is to understand that what you have and what you're carrying may manifest in different ways in time. So mind it well and don't think it's small that you just have a staff, because that staff can turn into a snake when the time requires it. And it can part the Red Sea when the time requires it. But one of the big things that Moses was able to see is how 40 years were wasted.
Wow.
wandering in the desert. So many projects, people's lives, organizations, you get caught up in the inaction, perhaps. You know, some people say they have 20 years of experience, and when you really drill, they have 20 years of the same 1 year experience repeated because there
Wow.
is no growth. So, the importance of leadership and time is to be able to sense when time is being wasted. Number
Wow.
two, being clear about the budget. What's the budget of time? I have one of my mentors who really had to teach me that 80% was good enough because the time required to do the last 20% usually wasn't even value added. It was going to take more time than maybe the first 80 did. So being
Okay.
able to focus and understand and prioritize, because time is the only resource that you cannot get again. Because
Hmm.
time is what life is made of, right? When I ask the question of what would you do if you had one more hour a day, what are the things that you would do? So,
Wow.
but the truth of it is, most of us, if you use a tool called a time audit, and in John Maxwell, we have something called the 15-minute miracle that really helps you to uncover how are you spending your time. Then we ask questions around how does it align with the values that you have. You know, a
Okay.
long time ago when we used checkbooks, people used to say that the way I can tell what you truly value, right? Most of us have espoused values, but the actual lived values would show up
Yeah.
in what our checkbook, where do
Hmm.
we spend the most money, would show what we value. So
Yeah.
just like time, where we spend the most time shows what we value. So the first step in having a good path in leadership and time is laying out what matters most, my
Wow.
value.
Wow. Awesome. Awesome. I just, I just get fascinated by time. For me, when I have a meeting, I usually arrive on time or before time. I'm never late. You know,
Okay.
uh,
Mm-hmm.
it's a privilege, and
Mm-hmm.
it's something I learned from my dad. He was always on time. He valued time, and he packed so much, even within into time. I see some people just being very careless with time. They make excuses for being late. They talk about the weather. They talk about delays and all that. I just want you to speak to it. How can a leader, utilize time effectively?
Well, I think one of the first things you have to do is, like I said, establish what do you value. Then the next thing is to identify what are my objectives. You know, so this is around purpose, my why. And in your between your values and your purpose, you then have strategies that basically say what's the action plan of the things we need to do. And if you're smart and valuing of time, then you'll make it smart. So specific, measurable, so when you say that you arrive on time, I would ask you, how do you measure on time? And I'm glad
Hmm.
that you went on to say before. So when we're leaders who are vague in requirements, get vague results.
Hmm. Wow. Can
That's
you say
one
that
of
again?
the
Can you
first
say that
nuggets.
again?
Leaders who give vague requirements get vague results. So the understanding the values, for example, if I say to someone, be on time, and my definition of being on time is being 5 minutes early, and their definition is, it's Africa. I'll be there 10 minutes after because we won't start until 10 minutes after.
No. What? But why are you saying Africa? Is it African time, or does it mean we have a unique, interpretation of time?
Well, I don't think that point is widely argued. I think it's an opportunity for us to do better and set
Yeah.
standards and be
Yeah.
very clear, because and that's very much the point, because so many people are walking in the space of 10 minutes late, 10 minutes late in starting is
Yeah.
really on time. Oh, we
Yeah.
could have been an hour late because that's how we do it here. But the way people manage time allows you to see how they value life and how
That's
they
right.
value opportunity. I'll
Yeah.
give you case in point because I value process and people. So I
Hmm.
had to grow into respecting time. I really did. So talk about African time. I would be enjoying relating with people and I will lose track of time. So number one, number two, as a leader, I always have someone on my team who is more time conscious than me because
Wow.
I'll get deep engaging with the client and I do need someone. And it's just self-awareness for me. People are self-aware and then they don't do anything about it. So what I do is I have someone when I'm doing a speech, I have someone that's holding up the sign because my passion comes through, but that's no excuse. So once you understand yourself, it's important that you put
Yeah.
a control in place. And I would say number three for me, I had an opportunity when I was working at Shell. I was at Shell for 13 years, and I
Yeah.
loved the way they invested in my leadership development and my
Wow.
leadership journey. So I was partnered with a gentleman who's German. And I was in Europe, we were working on projects together and breaking out and everything. And guess what he told me?
What?
He said that when a person shows up late for a meeting, he takes it that they don't respect him, they don't respect time, and he's not a person that he would be interested in working with.
Wow. I believe so. Not someone you can trust.
Exactly. So all of those things, and it's amazing because it's just one data point, but look all that I layered out. That's what he reads from not managing and respecting time. He now draws all of these character conclusions about you. So that's number four.
Wow.
Knowing
Wow.
that the way you manage time gives people an indication of how you'll manage resources, gives you
Wow.
an indication of how you'll manage, whether it's risk
Relationships.
relationships. You may be sloppy in your work if so German know that their culture is one of precision. So I think that's a very positive thing to take on is what happens if we're precise. What
Hmm.
happens if things really start on time? Is it possible that if we start and stop on time that we might be able to accomplish more? So number
Yeah.
five, it's all about efficiency. One of the
Wow.
things when I first came to Nigeria that disappointed me, we pulled up to an entrance and I was expecting there would be an automatic gate, just automatic and we would drive through. No, this was 1995. No one had prepared me. I just was expecting. And I couldn't believe that there were like 5 or 6 men at that gate
Holding the gate to open it.
and it was a delay in them opening it, but and I was like, why do we need all of this human resource to do a task that could be automated or at least one or two people on it? So that inefficiency, when you see inefficient use of manpower that way, the inference is, so if you can't manage people, how can I trust you with money? How can I
Wow.
trust you with project delivery on times? How can I trust you to follow with integrity, and not be compromised?
Wow.
All of
Wow.
those differences come. And I mean, as a assembly line engineer, 1/27th of a second was how deeply I measured time. And
Hmm.
so if we were off, in how you build the motorcycle, that would really make a difference at the end of the day. 1 minute of downtime was valued at $10,000 that we
Wow.
lost. We'd never be able to get it back. So the
Wow.
way that we treated time in that assembly line environment where every bike had been sold 2 years in advance. So we were very, very conscious of time. One
Wow.
minute of downtime is counting down and you can look up and see the clock and
Amazing.
you're here to troubleshoot. So number six is putting value on your time.
Hmm.
On the first day that you walked into that work environment, everyone knew it. So that's the other thing that leaders do is we need to communicate what those values are in terms of time. So we knew that 1 minute of downtime was worth $10,000. So you need to make sure that you did not cause the downtime. And if there was any downtime, that you had a way to mitigate the situation, contain it,
Yeah.
get that line running again. You know,
Wow.
you ever you? I'm trying to remember that exact commercial that talks about, um, you know, a second isn't important unless you are a newborn baby that's on a neonatal, the breath.
Hmm.
That 1 second is very important. That 5 minutes matters if you just, was in a car accident when somebody turned,
Yeah.
So you
Yeah.
begin to look at your perception of time. Even this weekend, I was in the gym with my husband and we were working on the elliptical bike. And I said, God, this is the longest 20 minutes in the world because I was really trying to kill it. And it's all about perception, isn't it?
Hmm. Yeah.
20 minutes on social media flies by. But 20
But 20
minutes,
minutes on the treadmill, it's like forever.
yeah. But what it does is it really made me think about, how do people miss their goals?
Hmm.
People miss their goals because they are distracted.
Hmm.
And doing nothing isn't the opposite of distraction. The opposite of distraction is traction, because traction is you're trying to go somewhere, right? You're
Hmm.
trying to
Yeah.
go somewhere. And we often get in that distracted because what? We've got a big, hard thing that we need to do that's linked to the long-term goal, lifts our values, lives out our purpose. But God
Hmm.
is hard. So it's like that treadmill, the elliptical bike, that 20
20
minutes
minutes.
on that exercise. Sometimes we want to avoid that and we want to go for the fun. Social media, it gives you that. It takes care of your primitive brains
Yeah.
need to
And if distraction locks you up. Yeah. Yeah.
yes, but it's instant gratification versus long-term gratification. I just want to share something with you, that there's a study, and this is all about time. They did a study in the 70s of children. Marshmallows,
Yeah.
very sweet. I
Yeah.
mean, it's
Stop.
like
Yeah.
pouring sugar down your throat, but
Yeah.
children love it, right? So they did an experiment and set children down at their table and gave each one of them one marshmallow. And they told them that if they could wait 15 more minutes without eating the marshmallow, that they would get a second marshmallow.
Wow.
So you can see that this is a model for short-term gratification versus sacrificing a little bit and getting a bigger payout.
Yeah.
Well, what they found is, I think it was about 40% of the kids
Yeah.
waited to get the second marshmallow. And when they went back and studied 20 years later, those 40%, those people who had the self-regulation to be able to postpone, because it's called delayed discounting. When you
Yeah.
can't wait and you got to have it now, you're
Yeah.
not, and you're not good at delayed discounting. But those kids that did the best by waiting on the second marshmallow, they
Yeah.
ended up holding more offices. They went further in their careers. They had
Wow.
higher scholastic achievements. They had higher and stronger marital and connections in life. They had, on every scale and every dimension, they were doing much better than the people who were sucked into that short-term gratification and reward. And when I zoom out and I look at that, isn't that how so many of us miss our targets? We're doing what feels good. There's an expression that says, eat the frog. That
Yeah.
was one of the things that takes you away from procrastination, is eat the frog. Do the hard thing first. Do what you
Yeah.
should do before you do what
Yeah.
you want to do. So
Yeah.
all of it sounds great, but how do we stay and get into that mode? Because
I
often
see.
we have something that's telling us to go for that easy thing, go for the sweet thing, avoid that hard thing. I even have something I call procrastination popcorn. I love
Wow.
alliteration because it helps you
Wow.
to remember. But
Amazing. Amazing.
yes,
Amazing.
I began to observe about myself that was a habit. When it was
Wow.
something that I was avoiding, I
Wow.
would go to the popcorn, and it was like, wait a minute. So I'm proud to say I went 10 weeks without popcorn because I
Wow.
needed to manage. So that's another thing. So I'm on like 7, I think now, that leaders do in terms of time, is that they identify areas where they need to improve in order to show up in a better way. Because first we must lead ourselves before others will follow us. And we need to have the humility as leaders to be able to say, I'm not getting that part right. I can't expect of you better than what I'm doing with myself. And that's also a cultural thing, because there are some leaders that you can't tell that they've done anything wrong. They it's the godmanship, I think is the word I like to use. But none of us are gods. We're all humans. So on our leadership journey, we need to be very open to feedback. We need to be able to be self-reflective. One of the principles that we always remind ourselves of is that experience is not the best teacher. Because if experience was the best teacher, we wouldn't continue to make the same mistakes. Evaluated experience is truly the best teacher.
Wow,
Because
amazing.
yes,
Amazing.
evaluated experience,
Wow.
because that's when you zoom out, get perspective, and say, what are what's really at play here? Where could I have done this better? Where did my team miss it? Did I call out the wrong plays? Am I leading them in the wrong direction? And then maybe number 8 for me is going to be that a leader in terms of time needs to be able to spot opportunities. Spot opportunities for teachable moments. Is now the right time to pull Gogay to the side and say, when you were doing this task, I noticed that this may have been happening. Maybe if you lean this way a little differently, that you'll get a different result. So spotting the teachable moments, spotting when an organization is ready for breakthrough, so you know when to come in and actually provide just what is needed. When it's time for you to zoom out and have the perspective of seeing seasons and cycles, and being able to not spend so much time on the past, but just use the past to be able to spot a cycle,
Wow.
but tell stories of the future and not just stories of the past.
Wow. I just want to jump in, because you're sharing massive nuggets tonight. For those who have just joined us, this is Leadership Talk with Adegoke, and we're looking at leadership and time. Leadership and time. With me tonight is Patrinia Wets Noha, and as an amazing lady, she's adding so much value. If you are enjoying the session, just say thank you to Patrinia for adding so much value. Just say thank you in the comments, the chats. I just want to find out what's the consequence of a leader not respecting time.
Okay. I just had a story, just an experience. I was at a community event, and someone was sharing how they were new to an organization, but it was a big senior leader came in and was just pooping on everybody, basically calling them thieves. They were not good. They were not whatever. And one of what he learned from that lesson is the lesson that he learned from that experience was he almost left that job. He was less than 6 months on the job. Because as a leader, you must be mindful of the right time and the right message and the right receivers. So when you misuse time and you come in and just poop on everyone, this guy hadn't even contributed anything negative to the organization yet, but you're making him feel bad, because leaders carry weight. We don't recognize sometimes the platform that people put us on. We may see ourselves if we're not careful. So this is a misuse. If we don't recognize the weight that is attached to what we say, because that positional difference in leadership makes people see what we say as being the truth. Oh, she must know something we don't know. Oh, so anything I say is going to have 10 to 100 times more weight than just a guy beside you. So being able to know the right time, the right audience, and the right message to, one, maybe score your displeasure, but do it in a way that makes the path clear, that you believe there's a possibility for improvement. It's just like in our children. I'm a mother of 5. And one of the things that I learned is if I label the child as a bad child, I'm going to get a completely different result than if I label what you did was bad. No, if I say what you did was bad versus you're a bad child. If I'm a bad child, what can I do about that? I'm stuck with that. So
but the wrong attitude of the child, you speak to that wrong attitude.
True. So as a leader, if you're leading a team, what's important is to be able to separate the behavior from the person. the performance from the person. Because if you can separate it, that means you can change it.
Wow.
So if I'm operating at level 1 now, and we are talking about level 1, if I say you're a level 1 person, that would mean, well, that's all I'm ever going to be. But if I say you're operating at level 1, this is how you get to level 2, this is how you get to level 3, then there's hope.
Yeah.
Where I talk about nurturing, and encouragement. Some people don't have faith in themselves. So as a leader, you've got to be able to time when is the right time to come down hard, and when is the time to come down just hard enough to break the down and get you going.
Because the goal is to make the person improve. Yeah.
Yes. And your question was really was leadership and time, right? What was your question? Because it was something else I wanted to ask and add to it.
The question was, what's the consequence of a leader not valuing time?
Okay. So again, at this event I just went to, it was just pretty awesome. The leader of our housing association was sharing how we had all of these recreation. So we were launching a new recreation area in our state. We have like 18 parks. So we have, a tennis area. This is more of a gazebo one. We have some that have a pond. But what he was explaining to us was the story behind it and how they were under threat. And he seized an opportunity because he said that we needed to move in, take possession, and show use so that so the threat would go away. So a leader is able to spot the opportunity and not just wait for everything to be resolved. It's again, knowing how to jump in, knowing how to jump into the jump rope so that you can make the difference. And that's again, all grounded in what are my values? What are my priorities, and where is it I'm trying to go? If you always have that clarity in front of you, that's why, in my coaching, in our More Joy 360 program, which is cultivating more joy in all areas of your life, more joy living, we teach you how to get into flow. And one of the highest things that are so important is getting clarity. A lot of people, it's said that you can play the football game, and run the ball all the way down the court, back and forth, and never ever score a goal. But it's possible to live your life in action. Ants and bees are busy.
Just efforts, no results.
Yes, no results. So that's why you got to be clear on what is the goal. So that when you're bringing the ball down the court, there's some strategies, there's some tactics, there's some skills. So you know what skills your team needs in order to score. And then you're measuring it. Okay, in first quarter, how many goals did we get? Do wells, do betters. That's how we use our time. Every meeting that I have, I close out, do wells, do betters. Because guess what? Making a mistake the first time, shame on me. But if I'm repeating the same mistakes without the opportunity for continuous improvement, I am wasting time. I'm wasting opportunity. I'm wasting talent. So that's one way that, is a control that I put in place. Do wells, do betters.
Right? Now, Katrina, I mean, you're showing up massively tonight. I have quite a number of John Maxwell colleagues, speaking, they're just speaking to what you're saying.
JMT DNA, talk to us.
Tolu Waleke, Famuyiwa, who just got his PhD in, about 2 weeks ago. He lives in Florida. He's on the platform. He's saying, leaders who give vague requirements receive vague results. Odemi, Olaiwole Jos is saying that, is enjoying every moment, and said that JMT fertile soil for building leaders. Now, what are the strategies, if you have a team and, they're not really time conscious, they don't value time, what can you do to raise the bar?
Carrot or stick?
Wow, carrot or stick? Okay, carrot, which one do you want to take first?
So, I would say number one, just like I told you in my work environment, you need to establish the value of time. So because I knew that 1 minute was worth $10,000, the way I used my minutes mattered. So you need to help.
In Ali Davidson?
Yes, that's when I was at Harley Davidson, but also when I was at Shell, I was negotiating commercial deals. And time will kill a deal every time. So you can't waste the time of space between first offer, second offer, and dilly dally. That dilly dally will make you lose your deal. Someone else can swoop in, so opportunities. So, I would say first step is orientation, getting people to understand what role does time play in the work that we do, number one.
Hmm.
Number two, then be clear on how what they do affects the outcome. So once they understand what they do and how it relates with the team, how do we all play together?
Can you explain that? Can you explain that? What they do, or how they do it, or when they do it?
Okay, maybe I can use an athletic analogy.
Okay.
On a basketball team, the point guard is the ball handler.
Yeah.
So if there's a rebound coming, it's the center or the forward that pulls the ball down.
Yeah.
Then they immediately get it to the point guard, because the people who can jump up and get the rebound generally are not good ball handlers.
Yeah.
Okay? If they try to handle the ball, it's going to get stolen as they go down court. So once they get the rebound, they immediately give it to the person who's good at handling the ball. That person brings it down the court and protects the ball from being stolen, and is setting up the plays so that getting everyone in position. They're looking over at the coach, and the coach is telling them this is the play to set up, and they get them into play. Then they pass the ball to the good shooter. So the person who's the shooter, centers usually are shooters, right? So they shoot it, or they pass, or they do alley-oop, where you throw it in the air and somebody else. So all of that teamwork, if you don't practice, you won't play well. So that's why as leaders, we need to do dry runs. We need to be clear on how my role affects you. Because if the point guard is in there trying to get a rebound, then when it comes time to take the ball down the court, who's going to do it?
No one.
The ball will be rolling around, and then they'll lose possession. So that's how I think about it when I set up a team. So I'm now in a space of a coach. I've retired from, the whole paid employment experience, at least for now.
Well done.
Coaching. Yes, I did my 30 years in multiple continents and multiple industries. And I'm just thankful for the opportunity to serve.
Congratulations.
Yeah. So I'm working with a dream team. That means that I have to be very, very clear on my requirements, and I need to articulate them. So being able to write a terms of reference, it's not job descriptions anymore, because so often people are on gig economy. You just need to have terms of reference to know what are the expectations, how will you be paid. So the carrot is, if you achieve all of these, this is X that you'll get. If you miss any of these deliverables, X minus will be what you get. So the carrot is the X, the Y is this, and if you exceed it, this is what additional success looks like, and this is how it will be rewarded. And you need to hand the ball off to these people by day 3.
Patrina, will it be right for me to say you're a professor of time? Professor of time management.
I would say that I am still a work in progress.
Wow.
I'm still a work in progress. I surround myself with people who are excellent at it. One of the axes of the Mojo archetype is productivity, which is results over time. Yeah. And where it comes is, the reason that I can teach it is because I made a lot of the mistakes. Wow. Oftentimes, people who are very natural at something and they never stumbled through it, they can't teach it because they don't know the mechanics. It comes natural to them. So I had to actively.
So you need to know the mechanics.
Yes, but it's because I've messed some of it up, right? So I had to understand, how do I? Okay, I'm gonna say a statement. True or false? If you make your habits will make you. True or false? If you make your habits will make you. Is that true? Or is it false?
True.
So it's very true. So that's why you must mind your habits. You must know what habits are positive triggers and which habits are linked to negative triggers. So once you understand which ones are the negative triggers and take them out of your life, remove that from the things that you do because you're aware of it now. And can you imagine that's how you get that hour back? Remember I was talking about what would you do if you got an extra hour? That's what you do. Now the next thing that begins to happen is saying, of the thing that I want to achieve, of what I want my team to become, of what I want my business to become, what are the habits of the person or the entity that does what I want to be and is what I want to be. So you start looking at the habits, and John Maxwell talks about the rule of 5, that if I want to cut down a tree, if I hit it 5 times in the right spot every day, that boring, consistent persistence, make routine things, just a part of your life. And that's how that consistency, you'll get things done. So what's my point? If you link your habits to your goals and the outcome and identity that you're moving toward, I actually teach a class in this so we can get more detail, but linking habits, because habits, if you have 1% improvement every day, at the end of the year, you're going to have what? 300 and some percent improvement. If you do a little bit every day, it's a compounding effect of improvement. So that's why it's very important to focus on the habit. Wow. So, and in building that habit, you've got to manage your environment. So if you want to eat healthy food, you have a bowl on the table of fruit. You don't have a bowl of plantain chips and whatever. So your environment, and then habit stacking. How do you link what it is you want to do? So that's how you maximize the efficiency of your time, and it keeps you from being distracted. Because get this, I have another one for you that says, at the point of action, you want to eliminate decisions. Welcome,
your friend is here, Abiola.
I see her. Thank you. She's calling me Mojo Queen. That's right, more joy. That's the only way to live, y'all. It's the only way to live. It's very easy to live a miserable life. There's so many options available. But actively choosing more joy, that's the way to go. All right. So once you are able to link your habits, set your environment to bring the results that you want, that's how you begin to have transformation. And generally when you're leading, you're not a sitting committee. I hate when people say sitting committee. Let's stand up as a team and get something done. And truly, if you're trying to aim for transformation, you're going to want to build up the habits. And those habits then give evidence for who you are.
Wow.
Your habits give evidence for who you are.
So your habits must be connected to your goals.
Yes.
So if you have good, if you have good habits, then you have results that are great results. But if you have bad habits, you have bad results.
Exactly. And I really like to take it to the next level, okay, because you can't just stop at outcomes. You just can't stop at goals. It must go to identity. And here's the example. If I'm trying to lose 10 kg and that's my goal, so my habit is around my nutrition and my habits around my exercise and water and sleep, right? Once I hit that 10 kg mark, I may stop if my habits are just linked to the goal. What you want to link your habits to is the identity. So losing the 10 kg is just an element of the identity of a healthy person. So if I take the identity and those habits just continue. So once I hit that 10 kg, it's like, what else? It's just like, in John Maxwell, we always say, don't set your mind toward goals, set your mind toward growth. And when you aim at growth, goals will be hit along the way. So it's about identity shift. So those habits is how you spend your time, and that's how you get the shifts.
Wow. If you're just joining us, I've been speaking with the Mojo Queen. Oh man, this is awesome. The professor of time, a leadership guru herself, Patrinia. Patrinia is just I don't know what to say. The adjective to use, I just run out of words. But,
well, we were playing with alliteration yesterday, so I want to say patient Petrinia, pleasant Petrinia, perky Petrinia.
wow.
Hopefully got some power Petrinia, but
wow.
Nothing and nowhere near perfect Petrinia. But I tell you what,
I know.
I'm in process and I'm in progress, Petrinia.
No, that's the way it is. That's the way it is. I love your humility. I mean, and that's the way it should be. Because we're on a journey towards perfection. We're not stagnant. We're on a journey, and it's all about being a movement. You showing up, and all our listeners all over the world that tuning in. For those who are going to be watching the replay, this lady right here, Petrinia, she's massive on knowledge. We've had collaborations, on more than 2 occasions, and she just, continues to shine and glow. She has massive content, over 3 decades of experience, worked in Harley Davidson, worked in Shell, worked in Philips Consulting.
Yes,
we just, your CV, your work precedes you, so you're not just on Leadership Talk with Adegoke to just speak, but you're here to drop a lot of nuggets. Now, I just want to ask, so you talked about systems that you can build so that, your time management, people can be, your friend Abiola said you're amazing. You're such an amazing person. And yeah.
Oh, I'm honored. Abiola is one herself. I love what she's doing with relationships. Sharing the jewels.
No, that lady, Abiola is time conscious. She's a lady for the moment, the lady for the season. I celebrate her as well. Yeah. I believe we have a community in the John Maxwell, community, massive people. She's saying that she showed up during the lockdown and she set me on the path of public speaking. Yeah, that you set her on the part of, so you can see that your testimony is so rich and, so powerful. Odemi, Olaiwale is also on the platform, from Jos. It's from Florida. So, we have, and that's what we're talking about. We're seizing the moment. We're connecting, because a time like this is so precious. We need to celebrate ourselves and we need to show up and encourage one another. The time rewards those who are also prepared for time, and that's what is happening, because this is your time. The Bible says that the sons of Issachar, they had an understanding of the time. They were not careless. They locked into the time. They were in alignment. So Patrina is in alignment with our purpose. She's just showing up, the Mojo Queen. I celebrate you. Now, I just want to ask a question, because of time, we can't really, I wish we could do this for 2 hours, but we want to make sure that we respect time. I just want to find out, now, how can the culture of time, proper time management be ingrained in an organization?
Okay. Setting the value on the time.
Okay.
It's like setting boundaries, right? So in setting boundaries, you want to make it very clear what you can and cannot do, and set a consequence and a reward for the behavior. And you need to be very clear that once someone performs in a way that earns the consequence, that consequence is doled out and is explained, the why. So you want to take away anybody. I always say, in the absence of the truth, people will make up their own. So provide a truth that aligns to the value that you've established on the time. And that's how you do. So that's the consequence and that's the stick. But on the reward side, people who deliver their deliverables on time and people who deliver their deliverables early, and they sit on the seat of quality, cost, and timing. That's how you grow strong project managers. And what you need to do is reward, promote, expose, provide opportunities for those people to grow even further. That's how you build a culture around time and show its importance.
Awesome. Now, who are your mentors? You know, we're getting to a close now. Who are your mentors? Your mentors.
I would say I have some mentors that I know, and I have some mentors that I've studied from afar. So
All
John
right.
Maxwell definitely is a mentor to all of us. We have definitely drank the Kool-Aid, and we
That's
definitely
right.
get where he's coming from. And
Yeah.
ironically, him coming from a pastor experience really resonated with me. Like I said, watching my father. Second would be my father. My father showed me how he could come into broken down situations and keep people encouraged and provide opportunities. If there was just a little stint of light, my father would put a mirror on it and magnify
Wow.
it, amplify it, and
Wow.
show it as hope. And he led so many transformations that I sat at the seat and was able to see how he impacted
Well
people.
done.
I lost him last year at the age of 91, but it was
Wow. So sorry.
amazing. The people, yes, it's a circle of life. I mean, what a blessing to live to reach 91. Anytime he passes away, we're going to miss him, of course, but that's the kind of legacy that he left, is that it wasn't that he just, spent time. He left an impact. So when we talk
Wow.
about, it's not good enough to be successful, we must have succession.
And
And when we
significant.
talk about
A life of it.
succession,
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
and what succession does is provide the significance and the
Yeah.
legacy. So I went to a program recently with one of my clients. I was celebrating his birthday, and his daughter walked up to me and said, "You're Patrinia Speaks, aren't you?" I said, "Yes." She's 14. I was kind of curious. She's like, "Well, my father was very happy that you were coming to the party. He told us about you. He said that you make people's dreams come true."
Wow.
And I said, "Really? Is that what he told you?" She said, yes. And she started telling me about her big, hairy, bodacious dreams. And while it felt good to hear this young child have
Yeah.
these big dreams, I knew that it was coming from somewhere. And her parents have been talking to her about the importance of dreams. And the fact that her parents are in the space of, we work with Patrinia to, mature our dreams and grow our dreams. Because as a coach, that's my goal, is to help you to bring out the best in
Achieve,
you.
yeah, best in you.
But what somebody said to me later that night, I was sharing the story because I was just amazed at this young lady. The woman said, "You could have very easily just been known as Dr. Chris's wife, but your
Wow.
legacy is so much bigger than that. To have a
Yeah.
14-year-old know that if she has a dream, you're a person who's safe to share it with.
Well
You're
done. Well done.
will give that fertile soil to grow it." So that whole piece around legacy is very important. And I would say two big people for me would be Babs Omatoa. I learned a lot from him. He's a former MD of NLNG. He
Okay.
gave me a lot of those hard lessons, things that
Okay.
didn't feel good at the time, but he grew and he gave me a lot of opportunity. And
Okay.
Ted Theodore, I call him
Wow.
consistent, because that's really what leaders need to show up as. When you're consistent, people know how to follow behind you. And that's
Wow.
very, very important, because consistent is time. Anything that's going to waste time where I'm having to guess how you would approach a problem, or what is the standard that you would apply. So those are things that leaders can do
Wow.
to be efficient.
Congratulations. Well done. Well done. Now, you have a program coming up. Can you speak to that?
Yes, I do. I have several programs coming up, but my big baby that I love is called More Joy 360. It's a signature coaching program that if you're a person who just, has realized that I've reached a point in my life where I've been pretty successful, or maybe I've fallen a little short in what I thought I should do. But
Yeah.
now it's really, really clear to me that God has a bigger purpose for me. But I know that what got me here won't get me there. I just need a little help
Wow.
to kind of get the focus and get clear on my strengths and learn from my stories and know myself and apply it. This program's for you. It's a 10
Wow.
module.
So when is this starting?
We'll be launching in the first week of August. So
Okay.
if you want to find out more information, you can go to hello@patriniaspeaks.com. Maybe someone can type that in, but it's hello at PATRENIA speaks.com. I'll also be doing a session on Wednesday on Instagram, and it's about and it's a huge part of my coaching framework, which looks at how
Okay.
to awaken you, how to elevate you, and how to activate. But it'll be on Wednesday. Please follow me on Instagram, Patrinia Speaks. You'll find out more about that program, which is going to
Awesome.
teach you how to get out of your own way. Thank you so much.
Wow. 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 Amazing. Now, we just have one more question because time has really gone past. But we've
Sorry.
had value. We've had value. Once again, if you're on the platform and you've gotten value, I just say thank you to Patrinia. Say thank you. Say thank you in the chat.
Say
It's
yes
been
and yes. If there was
yeah.
anything you learned, say yes and yes.
Yeah, yeah. It's been a privilege, having Patrinia on Leadership Talk with Adegoke. We've looked at leadership and time, and so many nuggets have been dropped. I'm just so fascinated by what you've done tonight, and I'm sure that those that have been watching the replay will be thankful for the content and the nuggets. I just want to salute you and just want to celebrate you as well. You're a friend, you're a big sister. Your sister from another mother, and I know you're very authentic. Yeah, the same thank you emojis are coming up. Abiola is sending love.
I'm honored. I'm
Patricia,
honored.
Patricia is as good as what you see. She's awesome, awesome.
Thank
And
you.
she has
Okay, you are the inspirator. I love how you just get so many people fired up and on their way, and your consistency is truly a sign of excellent leadership. So I salute you, my brother. I salute you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Hello, Ingozi. Good to see you. Yes.
No, you have a community that is massive, and I love the way you show up. I love the way you show up. Now, I just wanted to say something to our listeners all over the world. Just drop something powerful in 30 seconds, please.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. The first thing I would say is don't take yourself so seriously.
Wow.
Once we get so stiff and how we must do and how it must be and all of that, do you realize that very stiff things break easily? So my 30 seconds to you would be, if you're not flexible, you will easily break. So
Wow.
stand up to be the one to know what matters most. Don't yield and don't compromise your integrity. Don't get me wrong.
Okay.
But
Okay.
but be in a space of realizing that every first step isn't going to be the right step, and have what is it? Allow compassion for yourself and grace, and don't take yourself so seriously, because if you're not flexible, you will certainly break. And I don't want any more broke brothers and sisters out here. So learn how to be flexible.
Wow, wow, wow. On that note, learn to be flexible. On that note, it's been a wonderful time with my sister, my friend, and a mentor to so many, showing up at the right time, at the right moment. And we celebrate you so much, Patrinia.
Thank you. You're getting it now.
Yeah, I'm learning. I'm learning fast, You're a global lady, global leader. And I want you to just know that we love you so much. We appreciate your family, your husband,
Yes.
your
Greetings
wonderful
to
husband,
Jimmy. Yes.
always at your sessions powerfully. And your wonderful children, 5 of them, amazing, amazing. You're blessed.
And one grandson.
Wow, and 1 grandson. So it's a large family. It's growing.
Everybody, yes.
Wow,
Yes.
wow. So thank you so much. Once again, listeners, those who are going to be watching the replay, please drop your comments. We've had a wonderful time with Patrinia. And I'm so amazed. Yes,
right.
at Patrinia Speaks. So follow her on Instagram at Patrinia Speaks. She's always dropping amazing content, and please make sure you attend our program coming up in early August. Thank you.
Yes.
And once again, have a wonderful, wonderful evening. Thank you.
All right. Good night.
Stay
Good night.
blessed. Stay blessed. Wow.